here. I am coming to you from my van. This was the only way I could get a video in this week. It's been such a busy week, and so I thought that you might want to hear an update on how my 11th pregnancy is going. I am 25 weeks now into this 11th pregnancy, and I'm 42 years old, so I am officially considered geriatric. A geriatric pregnancy, which I think is really bizarre, but it is what it is. And things are actually going really, really well. Let's see here. So I'm almost to the third trimester. I believe the third trimester starts at 28 weeks, and I'm feeling pretty good. This week, though, I have to say, I did have to slow way down because I was just having a lot of fatigue throughout the week and a lot of ligament pain and things like that. So even I'm getting a lot of sleep every night. I'm getting at least 8 hours of sleep, but it wasn't enough. This week, I actually had to take a nap, which I never take naps. I didn't even take a nap during the first trimester, which is supposed to be when you're the most tired. But I was so tired. So I took a nap, and it was only 30 minutes, but it was needed. So this week has been, definitely a slower week, which is interesting because the week prior, I had tons of energy, and I was cooking up a storm. I was making things that I wouldn't normally make, and doing extra cleaning and extra organizing and things like that because I had tons and tons of energy. And so it may just be that this week is my body catching up, because I may have overdone things a little bit last week. So let's see here. I had my ultrasound. I actually had a second one done just earlier this week. I think it was on Tuesday, because the original one that we had done, they couldn't get a really good look at her heart, and so they wanted to check again. So we did that, and everything looks great. So that went well. I could not take, this is interesting, I could not take my gestational diabetes test because I had eaten a balanced breakfast prior to the test, which, okay, so I have been going in for prenatals and for gestational diabetes tests now for 21 years. And it used to be that they told you, as long as you don't eat like pancakes and syrup for breakfast, you'll be fine. Just eat a healthy, balanced breakfast before you come in. So that's what I did, which is what all pregnant women should be doing. They should be eating a healthy, balanced breakfast, right? So they told me that because I had had some toast and a little bit of sugar in my coffee and 4 ounces of orange juice with my eggs, that I wouldn't be able to take it because I might get a high reading. And I was like, this is what I have for breakfast every single morning. This is basically what I've had for breakfast for all the 10 other gestational diabetes tests that I have taken. And I've never been even close to borderline. My numbers have always been really good. And they're like, well, we just, we want to make sure. And it's like, you're not making sure of anything because you're skewing the test. So so I asked them, I was like, well, what should I have eaten? And they said basically like a keto breakfast. So you could have like eggs and bacon, no sugar in your coffee. You could have some cheese. And it's like, that's not how pregnant women should be eating. Like, that's no self-respecting midwife or OB would be telling a pregnant woman that that's what she should eat for breakfast. That's not a balanced breakfast for a pregnant woman. And yet they want you to eat this way for breakfast and then come in and drink a sugary drink that no pregnant woman should ever be drinking as part of a balanced diet. And then they're going to take your blood after doing those two things and make a determination on how your body is handling food and drink for the rest of your pregnancy. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. So, and honestly, if I eat that way before I go in for my next appointment, I have a feeling I'm going to be feeling so bad. So I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to refuse the test or not. I've never had a problem Like I said, my numbers have never even been close to borderline before, but I am 42 years old. And so I'm trying to be responsible here, but it's hard because I feel like they're being really dumb. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. I'll probably just take it. But anyway, I'm a conscientious objector to the way that they're performing this test. My husband said I should just eat the way I would normally eat and just don't tell them. So I might do that. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'll probably talk to my brother first. He's a physician's assistant, and I basically run all of our medical stuff through him first because he loves us more than any other doctor or nurse will. So maybe I'll just talk to him first. Okay, so that's all that. So I thought that y'all might want to hear a little bit about other things for the pregnancy and like once we get to birth and everything like that. So you may have heard me refer to this baby before as Bubbles. So Bubbles is a nickname that George, my 3-year-old, gave to the baby. He just started calling her Bubbles, and it's so cute. It's such a cute name. And so that's how all of us refer to her now. We refer to her as Bubbles. My husband is adamant that once she's born, we're going to have to stop that. He doesn't think it sounds like a good name for a little baby girl. So, but for right now, we're all referring to her as Bubbles. And it was all George's idea. And I think that it's just darling. It's a very sweet, very sweet little nickname for us to use. So we are calling her Bubbles. Let's see here. Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is what is easier and what is more difficult this pregnancy. So as far as easier goes, I have had hardly any morning sickness. I had about 2 weeks where I would be sick once in the morning, but that went away. And otherwise, I was rarely nauseated in the first trimester. I haven't had much morning sickness at all, which is fantastic because my first 9 pregnancies, I got sick every day. And with some of them, I was like sick all day long. The whole pregnancy. And so this is wonderful. I don't really know why. I thought during my pregnancy with George, it might be because I was vegetarian at the time. But I'm not a vegetarian anymore and haven't been for over a year. And I didn't have, the same morning sickness or anything this time either. So that has been fantastic. Let's see. It's definitely harder. Let's see, because this is my 11th baby. And so my body has been through a lot. And so I didn't start getting bad ligament pains until my 4th pregnancy. And they've just kind of gotten worse and worse. And some days they are pretty bad. Like, on Tuesday, everything was so stirred up. Like every time I moved or stood up or sat down, I would get a ligament pain. And so they were pretty bad. Tuesday and Wednesday, but the last 2 days I haven't had many at all. So that's been good. But let's see, I have an umbilical hernia, and that started probably 4 or 5 pregnancies ago. I think like 4 pregnancies ago. And it doesn't bother me when I'm not pregnant. I am going to have it fixed at some point just because it's not good to have that. But, when I'm pregnant, it puts pressure there in that area that is less strong. And so that does not feel good. And certain foods will set it off. So I can't eat pork when I'm pregnant because for some reason that really sets it off. And then sometimes, just throughout the day, it'll really start hurting. And so I'll have to sit down or lay down. But it's manageable with like a pregnancy brace. So I'll put one of those on and that will help. So that is definitely something that's harder now that I, have had multiple kids. But I think, so things that are easier other than the morning sickness is that I know what to expect. And, not being a first timer or a second timer or even a 4th timer, like I really know my body really, really well. And so I know what it needs. And so that's a lot easier. Like I know how to do pregnancy. I know how to have a baby. I know how to take care of a baby. Like there's none of that scary factor about the unknown. So that's really, really nice. And another thing that's really, really nice is that the children are so excited, which this has kind of been the the situation from the beginning. Like, everybody's always excited about a new baby, but I've got so many older children now that want to help me and want to like pamper me and take care of me. Like, for instance, I take 2 different mineral drinks per day, and you know, my prenatals and everything, and my daughter fixes those for me and brings them to me. And my 12-year-old son is always saying, "Hey mom, can I get you something to drink, or do you want a snack?" Or they all are just really pampering me, which is very, very nice. You know, I feel like basically a queen, because they're all just kind of doting on me, which is really nice. It'll be hard to get used to like the norm once I'm not pregnant anymore, because, you know, I'm sure everybody won't continue to do this. I'm back. Okay. So as far as preparation for when the baby's here, you know, we get the house really clean and get a bassinet set up and, you know, wash all the baby clothes. I don't do a ton of freezer meals. I might have like a few things in the freezer, but, you know, we have friends bring us meals for the first 2 or 3 weeks. And, you know, I have kids that love to cook. So, I probably will not be back in the kitchen for a month, between meals from friends and, just the kids helping out. And my husband cooks too. So, I'm really spoiled here. I'm very spoiled. I know some moms make like 30 different freezer meals, and that's great, to be able to do that. But, number one, I don't have the freezer space for that. Our freezers are full of venison. And number two, I just don't need to. So, yeah, I probably won't be doing much freezer cooking. Okay. So I used to have home births. My first one was born in the hospital, and then my next 4 were born at home. And I had, we ended up delivering my 5th one without a midwife. She never showed up. It's a long story, and I don't feel like getting into it today, but it was not a good experience. Like, from a birth standpoint, everything went fine, but the way that the midwife handled the whole situation was really bad. And so, I go to the hospital now. I end up being induced, and that's just the way we do it now. I actually have one midwife that has she delivered my last 3 babies, and she's going to be delivering Bubbles as well. And she knows my history very well. She knows exactly what I need. She knows how to handle me. We work very, very well together. And so she's going to be delivering Bubbles at the hospital. I'll be going in at about 39 weeks to be induced. And it's just something that I need at this point because of the experience that we had with my 5th birth. We have to manage things a little bit more carefully. So that's what we'll be doing. Okay, the last question that I have is about recovery. Now, recovery is something that I take super seriously. So I always spend the first full week in bed, except for like I have to get out of bed to take her to the pediatrician, which is fine, but not ideal, but it is what it is. So other than that though, I stay in bed and Ryan takes care of the kids. And this year, this baby, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh, I still can't really believe it. He gets 3 whole months off for paternity leave at the company that he works for now. And he doesn't have to take it all at once. So this is actually pretty incredible. We have never had this before. He's only ever taken a week off. And sometimes I've sent him back to work earlier than that because he's had a lot going on and he couldn't miss. So what I'm thinking we might do is have him take 6 weeks off at first, and then we'll save the other 6 weeks to use. You have to use it within the first year. But I've been doing a lot of reading, and even though I've always taken recovery very seriously and spent that full week in bed, I've kind of just gotten back to it after that. And except for, so there's several things that I don't do for 6 weeks, and that includes vacuuming, pushing a stroller, pushing a shopping cart, and what's the other thing? That might be it. But all of those things are actually put a ton of pressure on your pelvic floor. It's very, very bad for your pelvic floor. And so those are things that I've always avoided for 6 weeks. But this time around, I'm actually going to spend 30 full days off my feet. except to use the restroom and to like get up and get the baby, but the baby will be right there. So that's not really a big deal. But, you know, that is, you know, I have to be careful with my internal organs because I've had so many kids. I have to really be careful. I've done pelvic floor therapy after the last 2 and, you know, take all that very, very seriously, but it really is best for mom to either stay in bed or stay seated in a chair or whatever for at least 30 days. And so that's what I'm going to do this time because I have the ability to do that since Ryan will be home, since I've got so many older kids. I am going to really take the time and recover right so that my body is just as strong after Bubbles is born, or after that recovery period as it was before I went into the pregnancy. So that's what I'm going to be doing this time around. I'm sure that I will be going stir crazy. Like, that's not going to be easy for me because I like to be doing stuff, but you know, it's better for your body to do it that way. And I actually have the ability to do it that way this time. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Okay. So that is my 25-week pregnancy update with my 11th child. I still can't believe that. That's such a crazy thing to think about. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, feel free to leave those in the comments and I'll be happy to answer those. That's all I've got for you for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.